Are you also tired of not having enough money left each month for what you would like to use them on, and would you like to have more? Then it might be a great idea to look more into budgeting to free up some of your money and actually start spending them on what you would like, instead of the money just disappearing from your bank account month after month. Today we will give an introduction to what we believe are the best budgeting strategies out there, and at the end of the video you have hopefully found a strategy which fits you. And to get you started the right way, then when talking about income in budgeting, it will always be the amount you have left after taxes and not your entire salary, as taxes only will make the budgeting more complex. But let's get started on the budgets. The 50-30-20 budget is a budget where you split your money into 3 groups, which is based on the needs, wants, savings. Your needs are everything that is necessary for you to live, like your housing, mortgage or rent, utility bills, insurance, interest on debt and groceries. Your wants are everything that you could do without what you really want to do, like dining out, paying for entertainment or events. Here a lot of us have costs for streaming and video games. Could also be that you would like to travel more and see the world. Your savings are everything that will be used toward making your life wealthier in the future. This is debt repayment to lower your current debt and make you free up more money, as you will have to pay less in interest. What you put aside for an emergency fund and your retirement savings. When you have gotten your debt and emergency fund under control, it will also be here that you start to invest some of your money each month. The 50-30-20 budget tries to give you a bit of everything, where you also have money left each month for having fun and that you don't have to live frugally. The tough part is that many of us probably already have a bigger percentage in needs than 50% of our monthly income. At this point it will need a lot of work to bring this down to 50%, but if this is the kind of budget you want to follow, then it is definitely possible, no matter how high your current percentage in needs are. The 50-30-20 budget is for those who would like to have a big picture of their financial situation, as it doesn't have a lot of small brackets. Pros of a budget is that it is embracing a balanced lifestyle with room for a bit of everything, as it is easy to get an overview of your expenses, as it all needs to add up to 100%. Cons of a budget is that it can be tough to distinguish between what is a needs and what is a want. There is not always a clear definition, and there is some gray area in between them. As your needs only focus on the interest of your debt, then you might be in debt longer than necessary and over the long run to have to pay more than needed for it. The Pay Yourself First budget is a budget based on paying yourself first. This means that every time you receive a paycheck, then you will put some of it aside for yourself first, and then afterwards you can use the rest for spending. By putting money aside for yourself first, you'll make sure that you have enough money left each month to fulfill your dreams. The reason that a budget like Pay Yourself First exists is because many people will say that they don't have enough money left each month, and that is probably right, as we tend to use what we have. But if we have less money each month, we will also discover that we can still manage to live a nice life without having to be frugal. If you are in a current situation where you don't have any money left each month, then a good rule of thumb might be that you start putting 10% of your income aside for yourself first, and then figure out how the rest of your spendings will fall in place. Then as you get better at it, you can start to increase the number to put aside for yourself first. The Pay Yourself First budget is the simplest budget, as it doesn't require as much planning as the rest, as it doesn't really care what you do with the rest of the money, as long as you make sure to pay yourself first. Then you can do with the rest of the money as you see fit. Pros of a budget is that it requires the minimum amount of pre-work and is a more flexible budget if your monthly expenses might fluctuate. It also makes sure that your saving goals always will be met, as it is the only thing it is focused on. Cons of a budget is that it doesn't really have that much structure, so it might be harder for you to keep track of spending habits and see where you might be able to trim some of your expenses. You will have to make sure to make your expenses lower than your income, because the budget won't focus on if you dig yourself into more and more debt each month, because you choose to pay yourself first, but didn't align the rest of your spendings. The idea behind zero-based budget is that every dollar is allocated to a category, and if one of the categories has any money left, then it can be rolled over to another category. This is a very detailed budget where you look at your monthly income and then subtract expenses until you have $0 left. Often the budget is used instead of going to zero, then you will have whatever is left in a fund, which can be used for either savings or investing. That way you will always know what your money is accounted for, and you will not be confused about unaccounted money. How it works is that you will make categories and assign expenses to them. Here there can be multiple categories like food, housing, transport, debt repayment, savings, entertainment and others. But as you try to allocate every dollar, then at some point you will have more expenses than others, like during the holidays, or if there are some periods where there are more birthdays than others. Because of this, you will have a clean slate each month and a new chance for how you want to allocate your money to make room for all of it. Pros of a budget is that it gives a very detailed overview of where your money is going, and it is useful for those who want a very hands-on approach to budgeting. It is also very flexible, as it can be adjusted every month and redirect money to whatever category might need it. Cons of a budget is that it is very time consuming to track everything like this, and it is very time consuming to adjust it every month. To allocate all of your money without underestimating and risking your expenses being higher than your income is also tough and might take multiple months to master. The envelope budget is a budget based on categories, where you take your allocations for the categories during the month and put the amount of money into different envelopes. The amount of money is in cash, so when your cash runs out, then you are not able to spend any more money during the month in that category. For some, using a credit card might be easy, as you never really feel how much money you actually spent. You just swipe the card and the payment goes through. When you actually have to find the cash and count how much cash it is, it will be much easier to feel how much you actually spent on it and how much you have left in your envelope. As when you're using a credit card, then for some it is hard to feel how much they have left. This makes it easier for them to do an overdraft and actually end up owing more money than what was allocated, which will send them into a vicious cycle of bad debt with high interest rates. The tough part about envelope budgeting is that you will also have to make cash envelopes for your variable costs like groceries, utility bills and transportation. As you might not know how much you're gonna spend next month, then it might be a good idea to make an estimate on the positive side, where you might end up with more money left than the other way around. So if you find out that some of the critical envelopes are empty before the end of the month, then you might consider making adjustment to them for the next month, which might need you to make spending cuts elsewhere. This method might be great for someone who has a problem with spending too much money each month and who easily gets tempted to just run the credit card. By using this budget method, it will set a hard limit for how much you can spend each month and will help you to stay within your limits. Pros of a budget is that you will reduce overspending, as you will think more about what you really want to use your money on before the envelope is empty. As you start to spend less money, you will start to see that some of the envelopes have money left at the end of the month, which will empower you to keep following your budget and reach your goals. Cons of a budget is that it is tough to estimate how much you need to use each month, especially on the variable costs. When you will stand with a lot of your cash in your hand for each envelope, then it might also feel tempting to spend a lot of it right away and not think about the rest of the month. As the world gets more and more digitized, then cash might also not be accepted as a payment option in all of the places anymore. Therefore, it might not be possible to keep using cash. At this point, you might need to make your envelopes digitally in your bank instead. The values-based budget is a budget based on what actually gives you value in your life. The budget says they will still pay your necessaries, but it doesn't have that much focus on it. It will focus more on what you do with the rest of the money, which normally goes to having fun or savings. For some people, it is hard to stick to a budget because they don't like numbers and they can have a hard time figuring it out. But with a values-based budget, you will instead give each of your spendings an emotional value for how much they mean to you and how much they will make your life better in the future. By giving all your spendings an emotional value, it is easier to figure out what values you actually have and what is important for you. This way, you can rank your spendings for the one with the highest emotional value first to the lowest and see how much each of them will cost. As you then compare the spending with how much spare money you have left each month, then you can see how far your money will reach and what you are able to get out of them. This way, you know that you will always have money left each month for the things that mean the most to you, as they are ranked the highest. Pros of a budget is that you will feel more in touch with yourself and what your purpose in life is, and you will feel that you are actually on the right path to reach your goal. You will feel that you have a higher impact on what your money is actually spent on, and you will thereby feel that you are more in control of your personal finance. Cons of a budget is that you will need to have some spare money each month to be able to use this budget. which doesn't make it ideal for those with lower incomes until they have lowered their expenses. It might also be hard to actually figure out what means the most to you and what you will rank the highest in the future. But if you're able to learn about yourself what means the most to you, then it will help you a lot in the future. That is the 5 budgeting strategies that we find the best and that we would like to share with you today. If you don't already have a budgeting strategy which you follow, then we hope we have inspired you to follow one of these, so you can get closer to making your goals come true. For ourselves, we like to use the pay yourself first budget, as we find it the easiest, but some of us are also so good at saving money that we actually have multiple other cigar boxes to allow ourselves to spend the money instead of saving them. As we believe that even though we can reach our goals faster, then it should also be an enjoyable ride on the way to it. Please share below what kind of budget you like the most and why you choose to use it, as we then can help to inspire each other to a better personal finance, as some might have the same motivations as yourself. My name is Daniel and I'm here to help people with personal finance, so if you're interested in more topics like this, make sure to subscribe to the channel. That way you will be notified when we release a new video which might help you on your journey.